but those creatives are pushing $30 CPA on a $200 product at scale.
I think that we also shocked the competition. It was 4 months of prep and one lightning attack that basically caught off guard every single competitor.
What's good, everybody? I'm extremely happy to have my business partner here on the channel. I've been waiting for this video for a while and now it's finally happening, and we've got pretty huge news for us. We hit our record for making the most amount of revenue in a single day with our stone on our latest sale. If you've been following me on Instagram, you might have seen that we've hit more than $84,000 in a single day on our sale event, and now we're gonna pretty much share all the secrets, not only from that specific day, but pretty much what have led to hitting those numbers pretty much consistently on such sale events. And yeah, we're gonna pretty much uncover everything, share tips from us running the business. And many of you might not know this, but Viktor is my business partner in my $7.5 million brand. He is now managing it completely. I'm just a brand advisor in the brand. I stepped out from the brand and now I'm just a partial shareholder. So Viktor is currently in the management for pretty much most of the things, and I can just give all the credit to him for that amazing milestone that he hit. So we would be more than happy to share everything with you guys. Thank you so much for showing up, Viktor, and welcome to our audience.
Well, Black, I'm so happy to be finally on your channel, and for everyone, you are watching the guy that I'm personally learning the most from. So if you need a great marketer, it's always Black on the top of the list. And yeah, as Black shared, we did some really good results lately, and we want to share with you the way that we build up for a sale event, the way that you can structure it for yourselves, and how you can absolutely break all of the stigmas and dogmas that are out there on running Facebook ads right now. So if you're one of those that are just panicking around, yeah, Facebook ads are dead, or, oh, there's no way you can do e-commerce right now in 2024. I mean, screw this up. I can say something worse, but screw this up, and yeah, don't listen to any of this. We can basically tell you how you can scale the hell out of this, breaking all of Facebook's rules for scaling and doing it smartly and beating all of your competitors, pretty badly.
Absolutely. And as far as I want to sound sophisticated and special about my scaling methods, it's actually been just about scaling budgets on that particular day. So I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, it's all about the preparation, and Viktor and the team have done an amazing job in preparing for this sale event. So Viktor, can you walk me through the timeline of the preparation? I was only in there, helping you guys scale in the actual craze. So can you walk us through how the preparation looked like? What were the first things that you focused on, and how did the whole thing, tie up together?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step backwards here. So first of all, for every single one of you that's having a store, regardless in what you're doing, you have at least 2 or 3 dates or moments in the year that there is a bigger demand for your products. It could be in Q4, in Black Friday. That's typically a day when most of the e-com stores are having great sales. That's perfectly fine. However, more times than not, there are also 2 to 3 more dates around throughout the year that you can use, periods where your store is just having more demand. You need to mark down which are those dates or which are those periods and start preparing for those. For us, it's the beginning of May. Great, we know demand is going up and we can take advantage of this. So that's why every single year in the beginning of May, what we're doing is that we're pumping up budgets, we're making a sale or already, but we're doing something so that we can actually show to our customers that we care, that we're there, and yeah, we can serve what you're currently demanding. So there's always supply and demand, and that's why you need to mark those dates or periods down. Then you start the preparation. And most of you, what you're doing, and I'm seeing it because I also have an agency and we're managing clients, and we see very different e-com scenarios. Most of the times, the preparation for an event is happening 1 to 2 weeks prior to the event. And that's a huge mistake. That's a terribly huge mistake. Here's what we did. We started preparing from January, literally from January. And what was our preparation? We were in search of completely new winners. Why did we start searching for new winners? Well, because of course the ad account could have existed with what was currently running. However, we needed something as a new stable foundation for 2024. We started running that. It's a low season. It's honestly not the best period in the world in January and February. But what we were doing was we were trying to come up with new concepts that later on we are going to take the best out of them and put them with a sale or new communication that's going to fit in with the event that we're going to have, with the period that we're going to have. So basically, for 4 months, we were testing, doing new concepts, talking with influencers, content creators, partners. We were doing photo shoots, video shoots, you name it. We did absolutely everything. We lost quite a lot of money in that process. So it wasn't something that looks very shiny. And as a business owner, you're like, are you doing the right thing? Am I doing what I need to be doing? Because with all of this testing, I'm having less results. And yeah, you start to get a little bit tired of that. But with 4 months of creative testing, 4 months of communication testing, we came up with concepts that we were almost completely sure that they were going to work in a higher demand. And then the rest is the magic of Blago and how he is scaling up ads like crazy.
So just to recap, like you were not just focusing on the sale, you were focusing on the fundamentals that would allow you to scale later on, right? Because especially with a seasonal brand, like it's very hard to, to not get mentally caught up in low seasons, because you're like, why am I even testing this stuff? Doesn't even matter, because you cannot, like, usually when you have a normal dropshipping product or whatever product that is consistently producing results, you can test the creative day one and on day two you have the results. Whereas here we have delayed gratification, right? We can only see if our job was done properly few months in when the demand goes up. So I think it's really important to kind of touch on just the sheer amount of experience and the amount of tests that we've done throughout the 3.5 years or more of running the brand. Because if you are a brand owner right now and in your first year or second year of running your brand and you haven't like really examined your market yet throughout the whole year, it's gonna be very easy for you to get caught up into this and have like bad mood as a result, or even get depressed if your sales goes down. And I'm gonna be completely honest, like the first summer of us running the brand after, scaling, to over $1 million in sales in 6 months, I was, kind of down because I was expecting the numbers to go up and up and up because, you have to always push for more, right? But that was not the case. But now I'm completely okay with that because that's a season of preparation. So we have seasons of preparation and seasons of actually extracting profit. I think it's quite important to just know what season you're exactly in. And of course, that's not an excuse to do good numbers, but I think the most important thing is to just calibrate your intuition when testing new creatives and new concepts, so that the concepts that you test during close season actually turn out into very good concepts when you scale. Mm-hmm. And we've seen with the creatives that you built very good evergreen creatives that not only now that can be used for Q4 later on without a single problem with just a different headline, a different ad copy, but those creatives are pushing $30 CPA on a $200 product at scale. Mm-hmm. Like those creatives push to completely caught audiences. And I think what's more like crazy with this milestone that we've hit is that it's 95% new customers. Yep. Like we're using those events to acquire new customers, instead of just milking our LTV. Because usually what most brands do, they just do a huge sale, they cut their margins, and they send a shit ton of emails, and they're literally discounting their LTV into the present moment because they're pretty much willing to make cash and flex the screenshot. Whereas I'm like, the thing that I'm most proud of is that it was all done with new customers. Like not a single, not a single promotion or a discount it was sent to any of the existing customers, and the ROAS was still amazing. So Victor, what's your take on that?
I think that fundamentally this is very crucial because what we're seeing from even bigger brands that are out there advertising a lot in Europe and the States is basically, yeah, we have a great customer list, let's milk it. And there's nothing wrong in general with this, that, yeah, you can get some more cash out of this because you have some, yeah, you need to have some good cash flow. However, fundamentally, if you want to be striving for more with your business, as I said in the beginning, there is supply and demand. And when we knew that there was going to be a bigger demand, we were like, okay, let's not focus on milking our existing customers because they would be buying from us regardless of the period, right? Maybe they'll be buying right now a little bit more than they typically would, but why don't we get the new customers? What's going to be the communication that I'm going to use for new customers so that I can acquire them right now? Not to go crazy with ads budgets between January and March when they don't give a shit about it. And actually focus on the time and spending the money when they're going to buy with a $30 CPA and not with a $120 CPA. So that was basically the thought. Why should we be spending so much money between January and March trying to scale for the sake of showing results, when we can make some preparation, we can get everything going, we can build the logistics, we can build the creatives, we can build the relationships, we can build all of this. Yes, we're not making good money, but why should we strive so hard in this time to acquire new customers when we know when they're going to be completely ready to do so? And that's exactly what we did. So that's why, with no promotions and no anything, we just focus on completely new people. And yeah, as you said, I think that was 96% of sales came from new customers. I mean, I could be wrong with a few percents here, but that's basically what you need to be doing. And what most brands are doing is then they're running their biggest sales, then they're squeezing their email lists, and that's driving their potential for lifetime value down in the longer run. While for us, we've just acquired those customers. We're going to do everything possible in the next few months to build a good relationship with those people. And then in Q4, we're going to try to squeeze the most out of that email list so that we can make the most out of that customer base that bought for the first time in late April, beginning of May. And now we want them to buy for the second time, let's say in Q4. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I pretty much have the analogy of like taking a loan. So if you have a huge customer list right now and you do a 20%, 30% discount, and you blast that audience and you pretty much completely dry it out, like it's better to rather take a loan from the bank to get this cash at like much lower interest rate instead of artificially lowering your lifetime customer value just for the sake of the sale, right? And what we did was the exact opposite. We decided to have a discount on our CPA. And I think it's primarily a mindset shift. It's also the mindset shift that we have for Black Friday as well. Like, we're not that crazy focusing on promotion and sending out a huge blast of emails. We just know that people want to buy in general, and we're not even giving that much like additional incentive because, and this is partially an ego thing, but if people are buying anyways, you might as well buy full price, right? And I think that the core of it is our confidence that we have an amazing product, so that when those new customers receive their product, there's no way later down in Q4, now we're in May, later down in Q4, a few months after that they wouldn't have purchased at least once again. I mean, our repeat customer rate is, I think now 15 to 20% on average for the store, something like that, for a high ticket product, which is not a consumable or nothing like crazy in terms of retention. And the Trustpilot score is quite high. So again, it's a mindset shift. You're doing, like in general, my view is that we're doing marketing not just to profit, but first to make the product amazing, and second, to acquire a loyal customer, which, we can always do a better job at. But yeah, we're definitely on a good track. So let's dive a little bit into the specifics of the actual sale and the few weeks before that. One thing that you mentioned is obviously evergreen creators, but how did you turn those evergreen creators into pretty much profit generating assets during the sale event?
As you said in one of your stories that you posted throughout that period, this shit isn't so complicated. It's simple, but that's not easy. And there's a big difference between being simple and being easy. So for us, it was quite simple. Because we knew that evergreen concepts are working extremely well for us, regardless of the period of time. We knew it from the last Black Fridays that, hey, evergreen content with Black Friday communication or Christmas communication is working tremendously well for us. So basically, we were like, okay, let's find the new winners and do this. So our thought process was, okay, what was running okay last year around that time of the year? We checked the concepts, and we started making potential new videos that looked, kind of like that, and some statics that kind of, also gave that type of intention to the customer. And we started making 2 to 3 times more creatives than we did in the previous year, maybe even more. I'm not really sure in terms of the numbers, but we started doing more based on the winners from Q4, based on the winners from last year of the same period of time, and based on some new concepts that we saw that were running well between January and March. So in April, we took all of this knowledge. We had a few talks with our brand managers, and internally we were like, these are the concepts that we're going to go after, and that's basically what our creative director in that period, Rebecca, did. She was like, she gathered all of the data, all of the information in one spot, and she was like, hey guys, let's do all of this. These are my ideas for what we can do. Basically our team built all of this. Then my touch into this was building a little bit of a new copywriting messaging, which honestly it's very it's not something I didn't do something genius there. I just listened to what the language of our customers is for the past 3 years, and I tried to give that in our copywriting. That was it. So we built all of this in about a month. So January to the end of March, you gather data. Then at the end of March, you gather all of this and you make the decision what you're going to do. We built everything in basically 2 weeks. We had this, it was ready for deployment, and we were like, okay, are we going to do anything too special this year? And we consulted with you basically, Black, and you gave us some insights on what you thought. And we made some little adjustments, and the rest is history. We started scaling.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you guys who might be wondering, we're very, very big on single image and GIF creatives.
Yeah.
I think that's like the pretty much the biggest lever that's been helping us, for more than 3 years now. Like our best performing creative that generated more than $1 million in revenue was one single GIF that was just offer, scarcity, and the main USP of the product. So we have
And lots of comments.
yeah, absolutely, and social proof.
Yeah.
But that's something that you build up over time. So after analyzing what the best performing concepts were for that particular sale event, it was, again, single images. This time showing a little bit of the benefits of the product in a different way. Offer adapted to the specific sale event, and ad copy and headlines, again, adapted around the sale event. And we didn't change the offer, and the offer was already proven. So we're building on 90% proven assets that we've developed over time. And we're just changing up the messaging. My kind of conclusion is that the more relevant your message and your product is to your event, the higher that supply and demand gap is going to be compared to your normal season. And at the moment of speaking, you can absolutely implement this into a Mother's Day sale, for example. But if you have a, I don't know, like a parenting product, if you run a Mother's Day sale, you might have a much more significant result than if you're running any other type of product in a different niche. But that doesn't mean that you wouldn't still improve your results, right? Mm-hmm. Because with this like season specific, event specific messaging, you're just far more relevant than any of your competitors that are running just their generic messaging. And Facebook gives you better bids, your conversion rate is higher, and it's just a very easy win. And it's like a cash cow to your business because your ROAS is higher. You know, yes, it's just for 2 to 3 days max, right? But it can really like help you, pay for salaries. I always like to look at this, whenever we have a very good performance for a short period of time, we're like, okay, we actually paid for our team, we paid for the software, so let's now focus on building more, right?
Basically yes, and you get what you need, and then you continue doing that. And honestly, also internally, it's a great motivation for the team as well, because when they see that, hey, I've just worked for 4 months, and so 0 to no results in terms of actual scaling, and now I do this and I hit record-breaking numbers, then you know that for the past 4 months you were doing something that was good. You knew that, hey, we made the right decisions. And now I can absolutely reassure you, like the whole team that we're working with, everyone is so much happier working right now for the past weeks, because hey, we're seeing why we're doing all of this. Why did we do all the little stuff? Why did we have to do so much research? Why did we have to look into all of the competitors and what they were doing? And why did we have to change the messaging? That's a lot of work. It's simple. The logic is simple, but that's quite a lot of work. And when you don't see the results right away, then you obviously will get a little bit demotivated. And you can, regardless whether you're the business owner or just working for the project. So that's something very important to take into consideration. And I would say something that we did quite well this year. I think that we also shocked the competition, and that's something that because everyone from our competitors is trying to milk that period of time, one way or another. But I don't really think that there is someone that is so media buying oriented. There's no other huge one like that on our side. So basically what we did was okay, there's going to be demand. Let's steal the demand from the others. Let's put the budgets that nobody else is going to put. Let's place it all on black in Las Vegas, basically, and try it out and see how it's going to go. And I honestly think that we've ruined the period for many of our competitive brands. That's basically what we did with our strategy. So think about it. You're in a niche, and for sure, if you have 2 to 3 periods of time when it's so freaking important to make the most out of it, and every brand has those. Everyone is focused on this. So think about how you can actually steal the audiences of your competitors in this period of time. What can you do to actually do this? On our side, we are both great marketers. We understand how to do all of this. We were that's our main advantage. So let's just, everyone with having higher budgets. And if we see it, we're just going to keep on increasing, until we can and until the audience can. And that's basically what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just to put things into perspective, guys, before the sale, I think the brand was at 4 or 5K per day in revenue,
Even
max.
less.
Yeah, with like 1.52K in ad spend per day. So the ad spend went up to 16K on that particular day, and probably we'd spend like, I don't know, 10K more around it. And, you know, the revenue went up like almost 20 times, right? So it's not like we were just, you know, scaling up from 1,000 a day to 2,000 a day. We actually 8x'd the ad spend
In one
just
day.
overnight.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is you wait for the ad account to reset. You set a freaking $10,000 budget to start with, and then you gradually scale it up once it starts picking up. Because the thing is, we might have spent $10,000 and we would have made 50,000. But we were like, okay, let's actually push it even further. And that additional like 5K made us another 30,000 in revenue. So it's really about the mental game of, you know, being both here, and really like stacking all the chips on the table, because a $30,000 in revenue in a different period might mean that you have to like sell, and that was on like on a 35% net profit margin. Like, I'm trying to picture this in your head, because it might take you a whole month of work to do these terms of numbers. And I know it's not just about the profit, right? It's all about longevity and stuff like that. But purely in terms of financial performance, if you can, you know, dedicate a few weeks of preparation, but like on that particular day, all we have to do is scale from 10,000 to 15,000, and kind of trust your gut on that. You might have to spend a lot more work with much lower margin in other periods to do the same result. So that's why, you know, obviously timing the market beats timing the market, but if you know your market, you're gonna time it better. That is pretty much the result of, you know, selling the same stuff for 3.5 years now. And this is why I'm preaching, you know, whatever you're doing, like either dropshipping or branding, whatever, like just sticking to the same market and selling in it for extended period of time, because it's not like we've come here without with just the assumption that it's gonna do great, right? Like, I remember our first sale we did like I think 50K, but it was much less competition, also lower margin compared to now, and overall like the market dynamics have changed a lot.
Yep.
Like, it was just an untapped offer back then, and we cannot expect to do the same number now if we just do the same actions, because the market is just completely different. Like, everyone started copying us. There's so many more brands. We don't have a unique product yet, so it's much harder to sustain those numbers unless you do the actual work to understand your customer better, and know how to prepare for such events. And yeah, I think it's just not only about testing a lot of credits and a lot of concepts and a lot of like day-to-day stuff, and volume is important, but it's also like taking the step back and doing this initial research, because on those strategic times, and that was like the first video that I ever posted on the channel, is how we scaled from 8K per day to 20K per day just from spotting that opportunity and actually hopping on that opportunity. And if you're doing your media buying right now, that's pretty much your job as a business owner, because that can, you know, 2x your average profit if you do this consistently and spot those opportunities every single month. But if you have a media buyer, I think that's one of the most important qualities of a media buyer, to actually be proactive in testing. And I'm curious to hear Viktor's take on that, because he's got to work with a lot of media buyers on a regular basis. But that would be my top, you know, top trait of a media buyer.
For me, a media buyer for sure needs to be very curious. He needs to be a great mathematician, so he needs to understand, or she needs to understand numbers. And they need to be optimistic in terms of, yeah, we're going to do a lot of stuff, and be very conservative at the same time, with not going too crazy and just be overly hyped as if they're in a casino. Because sometimes the ads manager looks like a casino to some people, and they're completely messing this up. So it's a very specific It's a very interesting trait. Actually, I think that the media buying position is being quite overlooked, especially on a higher level. Yes, the average Joe or the basic media buying, it's getting very simple. It's nothing too complex. However, if you have a brand where you need to do something very different, you want to have and you want to have media buying as something as a competitive weapon, then your media buyer needs to be extremely smart. That doesn't mean that they have to work 24/7 on the account. It means that they need to be able to analyze what the hell is going on there, and they need to be very proactive in how to actually change this and get the preparation that's needed to launch a campaign. You know that I'm more into the military field, and I can say that an army that is preparing for a battle for a long time and knows what's going to happen and what could be the problems of it has a much bigger chance of winning than someone that is just, yeah, I'm just going straight into it, like no prep, no backup, no nothing, and that's not going to work. For us, it was 4 months of prep and one lightning attack that basically caught off guard every single competitor, and also took the most advantage in terms of the audiences, and that's why they loved buying from us in that period of time. And something that I can say is that throughout that period, something that I personally did, I started commenting below the winning ads throughout that period. I started doing objection handling in the comments. Why? Because they know that it's only running for a short time. They need to make a decision right away. And what's the first place that you're looking at before buying? It's basically your Facebook or Instagram comments. So I went on Facebook and I started commenting from my own name. I was always writing, it's Viktor, the co-founder. And they were like, okay, that's not, they might have never heard of us. But now they're like, yeah, that's interesting because like the owner is hopping there and is answering questions and is going over and is giving additional information. And that's on ads that will spend like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 this very day. It took me like 30 minutes, honestly, to do all of this. Was it complex? No. Did it bring more results? Absolutely, yes. Some of those comments were receiving tens of likes, like just for a single day. So you can make your own math based on this. So getting back to the media buyer, extremely important position, very overlooked. Analyzer, mathematician, optimistic about the brand, very proactive. If these are not here, then you don't really have a pro media buyer. You have someone running ads, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. For us, just what we did in terms of media buying is we just tested the creatives right before the sale, like 4 or 5 days before the sale, identified top winners, and then we put them in a high budget CBO, high budget ABOs, starting at I think 1,000 a day for the day, and the third campaign was an Advantage Plus. I think it was starting at like 1,500, $2,000. So combined across these audiences, we had like 7, 8K in ad spend scheduled for the day, and then another like 2K or something with retargeting, evergreen campaigns that were still very profitable.
Yep.
Anyways, so throughout the day it's very interesting. I know a lot of people use a lot of manual bidding, cost cap, bid caps, all that stuff. We actually haven't had the best results with them. We can get them to spend even with like very conservative bids, or at least that's been my experience of running the brand. So what I usually do is I just check the accounts every 2 to 3 hours, and I scale by with 10 to 50 by 10 to 15%, depending on the performance. And it was very interesting that in the beginning Facebook was not spending anything. Like,
Yep.
it started off really, really bad, and I was like, we've already spent like $2,000 and we're at a loss pretty much. But then I looked at Facebook and it didn't even start spending. But the moment he started spending, it really went crazy. So we did this cycle of scaling up, I think 2 to 3 times, and then over the night, it's pretty much spent the majority of it. So we did several rounds of scaling before the main part of the budget. Budget was kind of spent as impressions, and I think it really topped out at a specific moment. We made like almost $8,000 in revenue in a single hour.
Yep.
And then we're based in Europe, so we usually just wake up and see the result. And we were at like 70K with several hours left. So I think realistically, if we would have stayed longer during the night and pushed even higher, we probably might have hit $100,000. But like you have to like not be maximalistic with this thing, because yes, you might hit even higher numbers, but Facebook has a breaking point. And once you go past this breaking point, like you probably had those moments when you wanted to scale up, you were doing like 2-3K a day, and you were like, okay, let's push it to 5. You ramp up the ad spend, and then your creators die, your conversion rate goes shit, and then you're suddenly in the red.
Yeah.
All like without a transitional period. It automatically shows your ads to completely cold people. They have no idea, no intent to buy, and your conversion rate goes shit. And you don't want to fuck this up on such a sale event. So I'm not saying to like not use the opportunity to its potential, but what I'm saying is don't be too greedy.
Absolutely.
Because yes, you might make another, you might make another, 20-30K on a sale, but you might, start losing money if you're way too hard with it. And I've personally done it. Like I've personally scaled and tried to force, budgets. I think it was one of the Black Friday, Cyber Mondays where we, still did a 50K day, but it was only like 15% profit. And that's, 7.5K. And, on that particular day, yes, the revenue was not 2x, it was like 84K, but the net profit was like 32K or something. So it's a huge difference in terms of profit. And ultimately, what I'm optimizing for in those events is first acquiring new customers, and second, making a shit ton of profit.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
I have a question for you. Everyone is talking about how to scale up. And like everyone on YouTube is having, here's how you can scale up. And basically that's what we did up until this moment in this video. But how do you go after the event? What do you do after you get the 80K successfully? I've had multiple cases where good friends of mine that are good media buyers typically, or good ecom people typically, they get so much into the I'm a king now, I can rule the world now, and so on and so forth, that they keep on their huge ad spend budget, and they lose everything that they made on this event or in that period in the next week or two, because their ego was so much into I need to keep this up. I want to have your explanation on how you were first going like straight up into, okay, how do I do you keep it? Do you lower it directly? What's your thought process in a period like that?
I think I've just become more and more conservative over time, because before I was also like thinking, okay, we can actually sustain this, but that's just an assumption. And in a lot of the cases, for example, on Black Friday, next day is like almost break even or something. And you were like, okay, we didn't lose money, but we didn't make much. And there's also, if you're afraid to keep the high budgets and you descale way too hard, it might, push you to a much, much worse bit. Facebook is not giving you the same good performance because of your high spend anymore. So it might, again, fuck up your performance. The risk is lower, obviously. So I think there's a balance that you just have to find when scaling down after an event. And I think what we did was we pretty much cut the budgets by 50%. And I think the next day was again on 4 something ROAS. We had like a 26k day or something. So the people were still hot from the event. Like we were still expecting very good performance, but I'm very, very, very happy that we didn't keep it at 10k plus, because it might have made the same amount of revenue, but just spending more money. So there's a fine line to it. I don't think scaling down way too crazy is good. Neither keeping the high scale is good. So what I like to do is I look at the warm-up budget for the sale. Let's say on the day before the sale, we probably spent like around 5k to warm up things, right? Then I was like, okay, we know that 5k is kind of stable, and this is our optimal default, and we can always revert back to it with high probability of success, because chances are, if people are hyped and our ads are converting well at 5k before the event, then the chances are that after the event we might have similar hype. Like it will go down, but it's going to be pretty similar to the day before the hype, right?
Yeah.
Or slightly less or whatever. But like this is your best case scenario, and that's what we're kind of optimizing for. And every event is going to be different. For example, on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I might keep higher budgets because people are waiting for Cyber Monday, right? It's 2 events in a row, whereas here it's just one big event, and there's nothing I can connect it to. So I pretty much discount budgets 50%, and it turned out pretty well.
Yeah.
And then the next day, it was again very interesting. It started off pretty well, so we kept budgeted like 5-6k scheduled for the day. But then we saw, okay, it's actually not working, and we descaled throughout the day. It's not like a black or white thing, but you have an assumption, and this assumption should be based on data from pretty much the default situation before the sale that was doing kind of good. Then you implement this, see if it works. If it doesn't, simply scale down the budget, and that's it. But like, don't let your ego go into the way. And I know there's people like scaling on break even just to hope for a great Christmas day or something, which I think is pretty stupid. I think you have to be like very, and especially if you want to sell the brand, like if you have 5% margin compared to a 15% margin, like investors are not stupid. Like they're gonna look at your financials and they're like, bro, like you're spending this much money on ads, but you're not making anything, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you can put this in a lot of different contexts, but what I'm essentially saying is you shouldn't like max out your brand just to keep performance stable. And I have a friend that's doing like $1 million a month with branded dropshipping, and he's scaling pretty well on Facebook right now. And he's saying like, I'm never pushing my budget to the max, because yes, I might have a very good run for 2 to 3 days, but then Meta is gonna pretty much go past this breaking point, and I'm gonna lose a bunch of money over the weekend. Same applies to pretty much investing in whatever thing. You're never gonna see a very, very, very successful person, maxing out something just because they have a slight incremental return, but the risk of breaking is like 2 times, 3 times bigger, right?
And that's in sustainable brands. So that's why you need to be building sustainable brands. If you're just doing to milk it for 3 months or 6 months, then you're having the wrong mindset, honestly. And that could be okay if the business you're building is a 3-month business or a 6-month business. But if you want to be staying there for the longer run, then you just need to kill like some of that risk. And basically we scaled. That's the thing. And I think that the biggest, the moral of the story is that we made the biggest day, single day of our business while being conservative guys. Like, because we just didn't do something extremely way too crazy in terms of like magic. We didn't do that. No, we focused on all the fundamentals. We built the creatives. We asked our customers. We learned from our mistakes. We focused on supply and demand. We had all of that combined, and then when the time came, we were extremely proactive. Something that we knew that all of the others wouldn't be so much, and we were very proactive. and every 2 to 3 hours we were scaling or descaling. In that regard, we were only scaling. And I remember I was like at 2 a.m. in the morning staying at the office just like that, and like keep and ramping up the budget because we had two straight hours with 6K in sales. And I was like, okay, I'm just scaling. Like I can't look at it right like that. But and then you woke up a few hours later and you were like holy shit, dude. And that's the thing. And we could have said, okay, we became the kings of the world, but no, the next day we descaled because we knew, because we were conservative, and we made a great profit out of that day exactly because we were conservative. And yeah, that's basically it. Don't get your ego into media buying. Don't get your ego into what are the numbers that are going to be shared. I think that we have much bigger lessons to share while not having a 100K day, but having an 80K day with keeping stable profitability, while everyone else is crying in the corner, not making great results at this period of time. And we will try in the next months to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you will be amazed at how many brands are running, huge revenue numbers, but are, at 5%
Yeah.
profit, 10% profit, whatever. And mind you, like our profit margin is not the greatest. We have a 60% gross margin, which is kind of like the biggest, thing that is preventing us from having 30 plus. And also we are running a seasonal brand, but our lifetime profit margin, despite of that, is around 15%. So you have to understand that all of the stuff that you're seeing, on the internet, especially when someone is doing like a crazy good day, yes, they might be a killer and they might have made a lot of money, but because they made a lot of revenue doesn't mean a lot. So that's why I'm stressing all those things. Like that was done with 95% new customers on 5 ROAS. That's the thing I'm proud of. I don't fucking care if it was like 50K a day, 20K a day, whatever. Like, if you can set this as the example, and there's like, you have lagging KPIs and leading KPIs, and Rust, like leading KPIs, like how many new customers we can acquire at a good cost, not necessarily how much revenue we make. That's a lagging KPI. So if you set this as like your primary goal, and you base everything around it, you make your email marketing properly, you're gonna make your creatives properly, and all the rest will fall into place. So just to paint the full picture, as I mentioned, email marketing and creatives. I have 2 more questions for you, Victor. How did you prepare? What types of campaigns did you schedule in terms of email marketing, and what did you do with the content creators? Because we have a quite significant list of content creators that we're actively working with. So that's one of our biggest assets. So I'm quite curious to see what the team has done for the event.
In terms of the email marketing, I would say that it wasn't the biggest preparation in the world this time. So we started preparing our audience for the event, but I wouldn't say that we did something way too special in regards to that. We changed the communication, the way that we were going after our audiences, so we can warm them up. But as we said from the beginning, the idea was not to milk the existing customers. If they want to buy in this period of time, perfect. Let them do that. We had the campaigns for those. So we did the fundamentals. So always keep the fundamentals there. However, the bigger game was with our content creators and influencers. Basically, what we did was we started contacting them, as I said, from January. We made new lists. We started contacting. We started having new contracts with them, and we wanted to see which of them are going to bring okay results, good soft metrics, some that are going to have potential. And then when the period came for our event, then a month prior to that, we sent them briefs with exactly what we needed. So I told you, Rebecca from our team had the ideas at the end of March. So throughout the whole April, we were just doing new videos, doing new photo shoots, and all of this, so that we can combine the best of all worlds and do this. Also, the last thing we did, we asked our guys from the influencers, whoever from them wants, that they can share an additional promo code for the period on that day, on the event day. It wasn't the biggest thing ever, but maybe we did have a little bit more noise due to that. But again, it's so many different little elements here and there that helped us out. But I would say, again, fundamentals in creative testing, fundamentals in learning from the creatives, because it's a huge mistake to just do creative testing for the sake of having creative testing. Too many brands are doing that. And too many media buyers are doing that to just say, hey, I've tested 100 creatives this month. So, yes, you're losing money, but I've tested 100. I mean, it doesn't make any sense if you don't learn from those. So focus on that. And then when the period comes, you launch the attack, you launch the assault. And that's what we did. So not too much focus on the email, because we wanted to do more new customers and like getting everything done quite with a good margin of time before the event in terms of content creation, so that we can be sure that we can use that content. Because honestly, over 50% of the content that you're going to receive from content creators or influencers is going to be shit. You're just not going to use it. And you can imagine if you're waiting for the creatives from your content creators to come 2 days before the event, you're fucked, basically. You can't do anything with this. So that's why you need to have them like a month prior to that, so that if there's something that needs to be edited, they have the time to do it without any stress. And you can also start testing it out. Lastly, I would say, because you mentioned, Black, that we didn't kill our evergreens. Yeah, we did have additional campaigns, but the evergreens were there. Scale your evergreens. Guys, it's extremely important. Evergreens, they're already optimized. They're outside any kind of learning phases out there. And these are winning creatives that you have for such a long time. Yes, they don't have the communication that you want, but since the demand is there, Facebook knows exactly who to target with those creatives, and you know that they're good concepts. So the risk with them is very little. Always scale your evergreen throughout sale periods or high periods or whatever, even if their communication is not the perfect one.
Yeah, they also got social proof. They have so many $1,000s of ad spend behind them. And one last piece of advice that I might have for you, especially if you don't have a big team, you haven't established many channels yet, you might have the urge to go crazy in terms of marketing channels and like run a shit ton of campaigns on TikTok ads, Pinterest, I don't know, whatever, billboards if you want. But like, you just need to double down on whatever's working. I remember our like first sale that we planned. I had like a plan in my notebook. We're gonna do Pinterest. We're gonna pay for freaking unbox therapy to unbox our product and make a sale, even though it was like not even like branded or whatever. So my piece of advice is just stay focused on your primary traffic channel, because if we think about it, the opportunity cost of you spending money elsewhere is high. Like, in no way we could have had $30 cost per acquisition in any other channel aside from obviously Google we're already running Google for the event. So like, why spend the money somewhere else just for the sake of diversifying something that is not even sustainable, instead of just putting all your eggs in one basket and actually making the basket so thick that no one can fucking break your eggs, So I hope that kind of illustrates my point well. So yeah, I mean, overall, like, great period, both in terms of profit, both in terms of team building. Like, use those events as primarily as team building events, because for you it might not be that huge of a deal, especially if you've been running the brand for a while. But like, that's a huge milestone for your team members, as Viktor said. So there are a lot of intangible outcomes that are very, very positive if you do this properly, that will pay out later on, especially in Q4. So yeah, definitely don't be greedy. Do the preparation, and sooner or later you're gonna have results. Like, we've had campaigns where we sucked and we didn't do that much money and stuff like that, but still it's a great learning experience, and it can only make you better as a person. I don't want to sound way too philosophical or make this video excessively long. So thank you so much, Victor, for sharing this hour with us, and I'm sure the audience will absolutely appreciate it. So yeah, we have some time for some final words, and we can wrap it up.
Well, thank you, Black, for inviting me. And I would say that, yeah, keep everything as smart as possible. And when you don't know something, consult with people like Black, because I wasn't going to be able. I've been doing ads for over 7 years. I've managed hundreds of different e-com stores. But then, you never know what you don't know. And you call someone like Black, and he comes, and basically for 20 minutes, he expands your knowledge, or he gives you the tactics or strategies that you need to actually perform what you need. And I personally wasn't going to be able to do this, even with all of the preparation that we did. So, suck up your ego a little bit, talk to consultants, and ask for real advice from people that know their shit, and grow because of that. That's my last advice.
I appreciate the kind words, and I think you also have a YouTube channel and a podcast. I guess we might have some mutual subscribers, but Viktor has done podcasts with some of the biggest guys in our industry. He's done podcasts with Alex Fedotov, I think with Karol Weiche as well, Sebastian Saliski, if you know, like, these are the two biggest German guys in e-commerce, and they've shared like absolutely crazy advice. Viktor has worked with big direct-to-consumer brands, interviewed like 9-figure D2C owners, right? Mm-hmm. And he's personally running the brand with myself, and I know that I've kind of been taking the credit for the results that we have, but like, we've run this thing together for over 3 years, and it wouldn't have reached the amount of revenue, the amount of success and like brand awareness that we have right now if it wasn't for him. So definitely check out Viktor's agency. A true practitioner. Whenever you're working with agencies, like, just make sure that the people that are behind this agency know what they're talking about. And obviously, Viktor's been my business partner in e-commerce brand, so I can always vouch for him and the team. And yeah, check out his socials. They're gonna be linked down in the description. And I hope that you absolutely enjoy this one, guys. Talk to you soon.